This is the 2018 iPad Pro, and ever since Apple announced it at New York, I have been crazy about it. I've wanted to get my hands on it, but at the time, there was just too many things going on, too many devices that came out. I just didn't feel like it was justified to spend my resources and time on the iPad Pro at that time. Anyways, a lot of people were covering it, so I thought, let's focus on other things, and we'll come back to it later in the year. And well, it wasn't later in the year. It is next year, technically. Yeah, dad joke there. I'm sorry. But I finally have come around to getting the iPad Pro. Now, this is the one I've actually been looking forward to so much. My last new iPad was the iPad Air 2. And that one I didn't use too long before I actually just gave it to my parents. So what I've been using is I bought this used iPad Air years ago. I had that around, so that's what I've been using. And at this point, it's nothing more than just a controller for my Hue lights because it's just not fast enough to do anything now. So I am super excited to get this one. I've wanted an iPad Pro ever since I saw it come out with that 120 hertz refresh display. It's just so buttery smooth. I really loved it, but at that point, again, I don't know, I couldn't justify it. But this one, I was waiting for it. I love it. I want it. And I finally have it. So I'm so sorry for that long, draggy explanation. Let's just look around the box. iPad Pro. I did end up with the 64 gig Space Gray 11-inch model. I did not go for anything fancy because the reality is that these are super expensive. And I did not feel like spending laptop money on essentially a tablet. I'm going to try to use this as much as I can as an actual powerhouse, but I don't know how far it will be, and I really don't want to waste my money per se on a device that I might just end up be using for Netflix or something like that. So I didn't go for the more extended versions or the LTE model. I did have a really difficult time deciding between this and the 12.9 inch. And finally, what convinced me not to buy the 12.9 inch was when I looked at the keyboard case folded in, like with the iPad in it, I realized that was just the size of a laptop, and that was way too big to be really carrying around or using comfortably. So at that point, my mind was made, and I went with the 11-inch one. So I'm going to get to unboxing it and not waste too much time. So a lot of these new Apple products now have this pull tab instead of just, the plastic where you can cut. So I'm going to pull. There we go. All right. One thing I will tell you is that the box feels really light, and I was kind of like, is there even an iPad in this? It just feels so light and weird. I was confused, but let's go ahead and open it up. The box is really tight, so some people were complaining that their iPads arrived out of charge because the box is so tight it kind of turned the iPad on, and it was out of battery when they first got it. So let's pull it out. All right, here it is in front of me. I've seen this so many times at the Apple Store, but now that it's in front of me on my desk in my room, it's just a different feeling. All right, wow. It is so cool. All right, let me put this off to the side for a quick sec. The cool new thing, I think the best part about this new iPad is that it has made the switch to USB-C. Now, I did not expect this coming from Apple at all. Apple is very much, my way or highway. And in recent times, they've really been kind of playing the more, the sensible game. They adopted Qi wireless charging without creating their own standard. They're moving to USB-C on the iPads, and that's just really, really good. I feel like they're ditching some of their more, it wasn't stupid, but more predatory practices where they forced you to just pay more money for their own stuff. So I like this. USB-C is going to be awesome. I can just use the same charger for my laptop. Here is the new 18-watt power brick. So it looks pretty cool. And as I said, it looks pretty similar to the Google charger that I spoke about earlier. The shape and everything just looks quite similar. So again, USB-C to C. USB-A is at this point very much almost dead to Apple. The only thing that ships with USB-A now is the iPhones, and I'm sure that next year that's going to be gone as well. So let's pull out the iPad Pro paperwork, iPad Pro, top button, power button. All right. So let's turn it on. Let's take off that cover and turn it off. I can deal with this later. I just want to kind of look at the iPad. So it feels pretty light, but I mean it's definitely like not paperweight. I'm sorry. It's definitely like not extremely light. There is a little bit of heft to it, but I don't think that's anything bad. It feels good. So let me pull off this plastic. This is the only plastic peeling satisfaction we get from Apple now. So, all right, I'm gonna do it this way so I can pull it towards me. But you guys actually might not hear the audio, so I'm gonna keep it close to my mic. All right. This space gray finish is amazing. It looks really good. Definitely way darker than the space gray on a lot of devices. Oh, wow. It just looks so good. And I already have fingerprints on it, smudges on it, of course. All right, so right up here is the wireless charging spot for the Apple Pencil 2. We got your power button right up here. I'm sorry that the color is just hiding everything. There you go. Power button right here. Volume up, down, camera, flash, speaker, microphones. Same thing down here. Speaker. You got the USB-C charge port, and that's about it. This side has one more microphone, but otherwise it is free of any buttons or stuff like that. So I'm guessing maybe the SIM version, the LTE version, comes with a SIM card on this side. So looks pretty good. Let's power it on. And this very well might be dead on me. No, there is power. Yay. All right. So I'm going to quickly run through the setup process so we can just check out this display and everything else. So while this is setting up my Apple ID, I really like to talk about this color. The color looks really, really sharp. I love the way that this color is kind of... I've made another video about it, about the evolution of space gray, where I kind of discussed every single space gray there's been so far, and this one is definitely the darkest. It's very in line with the iPhone 8 Plus. The 8 Plus' space gray is very similar to this in shade, not like the space grays of before. And it's kind of nice. I like this finish. Definitely the way to go. I looked at silver, but I just felt like it was not my thing. It definitely looks good. Nothing wrong with a silver, but I would prefer not to have it. Enable zoom. No, thank you. All right, I'm going to customize settings real quick here. So the iPad also has True Tone display, which is really cool. Let's see if the camera can pick it up. There, it can. So you guys see that it kind of changes the display calibration and the white balance based on what the environment is. So it looks really, it's softer on the eyes. You can't even tell. And I generally use it without True Tone because I like to keep colors as they are, but sometimes people do like it. So this is explaining the new gestures controls. So you got quick access to the dock, swipe up, switch between apps is all the way. Nice, all right. And quickly access controls is top right now. Yep, just like the iPhone. So if you've used an iPhone 10, 10R or 10S, you're going to be very comfortable with this. And if you haven't, it's okay. You'll get used to it very quickly. The gesture control is way better than anything else. So here we are. This is set up, and oh god, it is so buttery smooth, this display. I don't even know how I can display. Oh, okay, yeah, good idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my iPad Air right here, and I will show you guys exactly what it looks like scrolling through a page on that versus this. All right, just notice this. Do you see that smoothness? Do you see like it kind of stutters on the iPad Air, whereas the Pro is just really smooth. You can barely it's just buttery smooth. Like it kind of, you can tell this is smooth as well, but when you put it besides this, you can start to tell how smooth this is compared to this. This kind of feels a little bit jumpy comparatively, and it's just amazing. All right, All right, so let's do one more thing. Let's check out the speakers on these. So I'm going to go into YouTube here and let's look up some copyright-free music. Wow. So side by side, immediately you can just tell how different the music and the sound is on this. This is going to be an amazing experience. So as you guys heard, the sound is just, I mean, I don't know if the mic picked it up well or not, but I am telling you, it sounds worlds apart. It sounds like, you know, I can't even describe it. Definitely you can tell the multi-speaker thing going on there. Not just the sound, like the amount of sound coming out, the quality, the depth, the bass. It just feels like you're listening to something else very different on this instead of this one. So that is amazing. And I just want to kind of compare the frame of these two. So let me pull off the case and let me put these two side by side. All right, so you guys can get a better look of what they look like next to each other. So the Air has this more kind of rounded off look to it, whereas the Pro has this very sharp, squared off look. Definitely looks better. The Pro looks a little bit better than the Air in my opinion. This rounded off design does kind of start to feel dated now compared to this kind of very thin and neat design. It also, you know, despite being 11 inches now, the frame isn't that different. It's just a little bit taller. It is the same. Okay, it is a little bit wider as well, but not by a huge margin. Let me just set this down so you guys can see. There we go. So if you guys can see, it's not bigger by a huge margin, but the screen size improvement you're getting is just incredible here. So this is 9.7 inch with these bezels where you can clearly just see them. Whereas with the iPad, the 11 inches, even though it looks, it's not that much bigger, it looks so much bigger just because of the way the display just goes all the way around. You guys just can see it looks so different. The experience just looks very different because of that rounded off display instead of the squared off one. And I totally cannot wait to start using this more seriously and get to understand and know it a little bit better. And if you guys have any questions about the iPad Pro 11-inch, definitely ask down in the comments below. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be unboxing, setting up the pencil, the new folio, and the smart keyboard folio case, and I'll give you guys a comparison and rundown of each and every one of those as I go along so that you guys have an idea of what the accessory ecosystem is like for this as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one.